I want to talk about who creates jobs, what's happening with the economy. We're going to get into that here in a second. But Stu, when we went off the air here in the commercial break, he was like, I don't know if I agree with you on what I'm saying is freeze all of the big spend. Do not start any new airplane design at the Pentagon that is a 10-year contract. That most likely will be a waste of money because AGI and ASI is coming. And that will change everything. It will change warfare. It just will. Drones, $500 each, have already changed warfare. We have to be preparing for the future. And that future is much more nimble, much smaller, and I have a feeling much cheaper.
Are you concerned about a bridge here, though? And we don't know when this is coming. We don't know how it's going to develop. We don't know what it's going to look like. No one does. We still need the best planes while planes are important.
Right. But we don't need to start any new. Fix what we have. Mm-hmm. Finish what you've got in production. But you don't need to sit down and okay a new design for a new fighter jet.
It's a big bet, though. I mean, you're making a big bet on ASI and AGI with no backup plan. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have still the best planes in your arsenal?
I think, look, let's look at it this way. Our generation's Manhattan Project is AI-ASI. Back when FDR was convinced by Einstein, he didn't believe it could happen, okay? And Einstein came in and said, listen, I'm from Germany, they'll do it. And so he convinced him, go ahead, build this bomb. It was magical. Nobody knew that we could even get there. We could split the atom, but what does that mean? Can we actually make a bomb that will work? We put everything we had into it, and we continued to build planes and everything else because we were currently fighting a war, and we didn't know if that would happen. Up until the very last moment when they said, dear God, what have we done? Okay? This generation, it's going to end the same way. In 3 to 5 years, except this time, we know it's going to happen. Almost everybody who is a naysayer on ASI, almost all of them are now saying, oh, dear God, yes, it's coming, and it's coming much faster than we thought. It will be here by 2030. Most likely, it'll be here in the next 3 years. Now, if that time continues to collapse, I mean, just in the last 5 years, it's gone from 2050, maybe, to now 2028, 2029. If that continues to collapse like that, we're at the event horizon of the singularity. So we know it's going to happen. Our job is to just bridge the gap as much as possible, but don't build things that we don't know are. Here's what our Pentagon should be doing right now. Building nuclear power plants. Our Army Corps of Engineers should be building those little teeny nuclear power plants, build as many as they possibly can. You don't even have to start them up yet. Just have them ready to go. So when the server farms are ready, when AI is there, we can power it. We won't have the power to be able to have ASI think and affect. We have to start thinking towards the future, not what's the next generation of fighter jet look like? There ain't going to be one, dude. There's just not. At least with a person in it.
Right, because it's still going to have... I mean, AI is going to probably come up with something that flies that is going to...
Yeah, it's going to be hypersonic, and it is going to... I mean, it might even be of a new material. Here's what people don't understand. ASI is going to look at the periodic table of elements and go, guys, shuffle the deck this way, and you have a material that will go 9,000 miles an hour. It will hold up under the heat and the friction. It won't bend. It's perfect, and it's only a quarter of the weight. And by the way, here's the formula, and you don't have to go and test it for 2 years. It's correct. Do it. I mean, that's how fast things are going to happen once they start happening. And Stu, this scares the hell out of me because you know how I feel about AI.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because AI obviously has a lot of negative potential consequences. And if we're putting the government, the military, in control of that. Does that scare you?
No. I'm not saying that we put the government in control of it.
Okay.
We have to balance all of this, but the government is already involved in it. I'm saying let the government build like power plants. Build the things that we know the country's going to need, the infrastructure, to be able to handle this. Build the things that when they say, we got it, we can turn it on.
Yeah, get prepared for whatever's coming
Correct.
here. I think, too, I guess I'm concerned, and this is, from a guy I've talked to for 20 years who continually repeats the phrase, I'm always wrong about timing. I'm concerned about that bridge period. Because I think you're probably right. It is coming really, really fast. But if something happens, if something goes off course, if you don't know, you need to be prepared for that bridge period.
How do we spend $877 billion every single year? Every year. Mm-hmm. China spends $200 and some billion every year. And it's that close? If it's that close, we got other problems.
You're just saying that we should sort of
should
rest on our laurels a little bit and just say, hey, we already have the best technology. We already have the best military. Let's not try to develop new things until this AI thing comes.
They're developing new stuff as well.
Yeah.
Great. Let's give some time to AI. Let's not double our work. Let's not spend money now on things that most likely are. Don't build another aircraft carrier. Don't design another F-57. Don't do it. It's not going to, you have no idea what's coming. Fix the stuff we have. Make sure we have the ammunition. Make sure we have the latest and the greatest that's already here. Don't do R&D on that stuff. Don't do it. And by the way, you can't tell me that, again, $900 billion over, let's say, 250 or let's say 300 for China. We spend 3 times the amount every year and we're not competitive? I don't believe that. Yeah. And if it is, everybody in the Pentagon should go to jail.
I do think we're certainly competitive.
Of course we are.
I will say that, to me, I think there's a lot of older projects. There's a bunch of crap in our military that all stuff is my higher priority target, let's put it that way, than eliminating potential innovations in these fields. Even though I know what you're saying, they might be obsolete in a few years.
Then you have to come in front of a committee that is filled with Elon Musk's and say, here's the pitch. I don't want the decisions be made by the senators or the generals at this point.
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. Here's why we think this fits with tomorrow's technology.
And they're not going to be in an advisory role, but we do have a system of government that we have to follow.
Yeah, I know. Right? But they should be the ones who go, don't do that, Senator. Don't do that. That's stupid. Don't do that. If they want to do that, then we can vote them out. Mm-hmm. And we'll all know which ones are just doing it because they're funneling money to their friends.
Part of this comes to the idea that the way I think about government spending, which is government spending is always worse than the private sector, which is a very basic conservative point, right? I think, though, the one time that obviously constitutionally you have certain powers that the government spends. Defense is one of them that they're going to typically be responsible for. The way I look at it is government can do some things relatively well if you don't care about efficiency. But businesses do, right? So they will not take certain risks that have a low percentage chance of paying off. And the idea that maybe you come up with a nuclear bomb and you're able to stop global wars for multiple decades. A private company, certainly they shouldn't be coming up with nuclear bombs, but you know what I'm saying? That type of risk, that type of expenditure that will likely fail is the type of thing that the government can take on, because when you don't care about efficiency, when you don't care about, hey, we tried 25 things, 24 of them failed. Right. That's okay.
Look, private industry should be doing this and leading this, but the government's already in bed with DARPA's already doing this. I mean, the CIA was the one who helped fund Silicon Valley in the 1960s. So please, let's get over our little illusion that they're not involved in any of this. Let me give you an example on something that I hope the president's going to talk about tonight. The private sector versus big government and Biden's spending spree. what Trump is doing and what Biden did. The president's been in for 40 days. I've never seen anything like this in 40 days. So he's been in office for 40 days, and the numbers he's bringing into the economy are staggering. Yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductors, which is the greatest news you could possibly hear if you understand what this means. Taiwan makes all of the best semiconductors and superconductors, and they're dropping $100 billion to build chip factories here in America. Apple, $500 billion over 4 years to crank up its manufacturing. Think Texas server plants, not sweatshops. SoftBank is in for $100 billion on AI. UAE is tossing $20 billion into data centers. That's $700 billion in private sector commitments. Now, some people are saying that it's as high as $1.7 trillion, but I can't track those numbers and I can get a lot of rumors. I can get a lot of, yeah, maybe, but I don't have, this is real. This is almost $1 trillion. Remember the investment for Barack Obama, the Reinvestment Act was $787 billion. This is $720 billion, all coming not from tax dollars, not from government IOUs, but real money from companies all around the world that are betting on America. This number, like I said, can be verified, and they're not handouts. Now, just the investment from TCMC could mean 40,000 construction jobs and 6,000 high-tech gigs. Apple, thousands. This is the private sector, not because Uncle Sam wrote a check, but because Trump demanded the same rules on tariffs for everyone. We're going to charge you what you charge us. That is fair on any playground anywhere in the world. And then he sweetened the deal by cutting the red tape and the tax advantages that no other country will offer and said, build it here, bring those jobs here. We're a stable country. We're the future.